As chairman of the Budget Committee, I promised that we would do everything our committee could do to support our recovery, which is why I introduced the 2021 budget resolution being considered today. This budget resolution was designed solely for one task: providing Congress with the option of using reconciliation to implement the American Rescue Plan and deliver the critical relief we need. We are in a race against time, and the American people are counting on us and the American Rescue Plan.
Our bill will enact another round of stimulus payments to struggling Americans. It extends unemployment benefits, which have been vital in terms of economic support for millions of Americans.
I rise to support survival checks that put money in the pockets of tens of millions of poor and working people so that they can withstand this devastating crisis. I rise to support child care providers and housing assistance, small business relief, unemployment assistance, and tax credits for children so families can have hope again.
This is a pandemic that is impacting all of us. And clearly, organizations like the U.S. Conference of Mayors, representing all cities and all persons, all diversities, all economic levels, have enthusiastically said, please provide us this relief.
This plan will reach both urban and rural areas with fair and much needed targeted relief.
The American Rescue Plan will help millions of people who are struggling in every community in our nation as a result of the pandemic.
The motion is adopted.
The President's fiscal year 2022 budget details his agenda for this year to help grow the economy, create good-paying jobs, empower an equitable economic recovery.
The thing that most impresses me about this budget is it represents a change in thinking that is long overdue. For decades and decades, the first question has always been at the federal level, what can we afford to do? President Biden's budget asks the questions in a different order. It asks first, what do we need to do to serve the American people? And then, how do we resource those needs? I think that's an important change in mentality.
And in the wake of a once-in-a-century pandemic that crippled our economy and changed life as we know it, now is the time to go big and be bold to get America back on track.
President Biden's budget would put millions of Americans back to work, in part by investing in our crumbling bridges, roads, tunnels, airports, mass transit system, water and sewage system, and also by investing in the caring economy.
I really appreciate the focus that this budget puts on infrastructure, in building out our middle class and particularly strengthening public schools. Very important priorities.
And this budget invests in the American people.
Great nations do great things, and this is a great nation. And until we make the kinds of commitments and put the resources behind it, we are not ever going to be what we ought to be. Let's find the resources to invest in our people and the future of this nation.
What we are considering today is historically meaningful legislation. This bill will help millions of Americans set a path to achieve economic security. It will ensure hardworking parents can confidently return to the workforce through access to quality childcare.
In our society, it is our duty to protect and support our children and their development And that starts with guaranteeing that the basic needs of American families are met.
In relation to child care, it caps the cost of child care at 7% of the household income and makes investments so that pre-K can be universal across the country.
The investments we're making with this bill, universal pre-K, affordable child care, and lower prices for health care and prescription drugs will bring everyday costs for families down and set all of our children up for a bright future.
There is a federal responsibility to ensure that every American can exercise their fundamental right to health care. Build Back Better assumes that responsibility, and it provides federal health coverage first through the Affordable Care Act marketplaces themselves for 3 years or until such time as a federal Medicaid program is fully operational.
We rise to the challenges of the climate crisis with historic incentives for renewable energy and electric transportation, and support major new investments in infrastructure.
I stand today and rise in the strongest support for the Build Back Better Act, the most transformational investment in everyday Americans in generations. I rise in support of the largest effort to combat climate change in American history.
Historic investment in clean energy technologies will create 2 million jobs each year over the next decade, while reducing carbon emissions 50% by the year 2030.
The Build Back Better bill is passed.
Common sense reforms in this landmark legislation will restore Congress's central role in funding decisions, increase executive transparency, and add teeth to our budget laws.